Answer my question! The question, jerk!
Hey kids, my name is Matt Baum. I'm one half of the Two-Headed Nerd, and I am here joined by the other half, Mr. Joe Patrick.
Good day, sir.
Good day to you. And we are here to play Answer of the Week. Here's how it works. Every week, we pose a question of the week to get things started, of course. There are also bonus questions, and you can find these on our Facebook and our Twitter, and of course in the THN forums. After you think of something clever to say, you can call us at 402-819-4894. Jesus, now you've got me nervous.
God almighty.
And leave a message on our phone line, or you can shoot us an MP3 to twoheadednerd@gmail.com. Or you can just write your thoughts down. Maybe you don't like the sound of your voice. Maybe you've got a weird throat box thing. Maybe you don't speak English and you want to use Google Translate. All of this is cool and totally acceptable. And we would love to hear your answer.
It would be rad, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it could be funny for the wrong reasons, but still funny, right? That's not racial. That's just funny. That's just comedy.
I think Google Translate is funny.
Yes, exactly.
Not the fact that you might not speak English as a first language.
No, I mean, then just get the hell out of America. We don't need you, right?
I mean, if you got a trach box, that's just cool.
I was kidding about the get the hell out thing, okay? I think we all know that.
We know.
Regardless, Joe Patrick, before we get started here, please set us up with our latest QOTW, as the cool kids call it, to save time.
All right. I got it here.
Which actually might be more syllables than question of the week.
QOTW.
Same amount.
Yeah, six syllables.
Same amount.
No, one more.
Question of the week. Yeah, you're right. It's longer.
All right. Our question comes from Lord Steven Fino, the THN Master of Coin. He writes, my university has canceled all in-person classes for the semester. Cons are getting canceled everywhere, and Broadway got shut down. So in honor of the current pandemic, what is your favorite fictional disease?
This is fun and kind of dark and, completely poignant as well. I love it.
Yeah, gallows humor.
Yeah,
Right.
Let's get right into it. We got one here from Mr. Joe Benkus. I might cut part of it so we can use it on the regular show because Joe is that cool.
Hey nerds, it's your old pal Joe, casual comics guy. Thought I'd give you a shout out, see how things are doing in Omaha. Things are great here in Columbus, Ohio. Wanted to talk to you about two of the topics you got this week. Number one, the onomatopoeia of the week. I got a good one for you. And number two, anthropomorphic comic books. So one comic book I don't think people thought about was God Hates Astronauts. Man, I just started reading this last year, and I love this comic with a white-hot passion. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of characters in it that are anthropomorphic. Some are from outer space, some unexplained. But you've got Dr. Professor, who's a rhinoceros, Sir Hippothesis. That's exactly what he sounds like, a hippopotamus
So
that is a king also. Time Giraffe, King Tiger eating a cheeseburger, Pandor, so many characters that are animals in an anthropomorphic form. And I thought it would be perfect to give you a rendition in the comic book theater style of the onomatopoeia I have of the week. It is volume 2, number 3. My onomatopoeia of the week is Dr. Professor from God Hates Astronauts having an existential crisis. Here we go.
I'm gonna cut this anyway, and we'll use it on the regular show.
I want to hear it, though.
Yeah.
Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Comic Book Theater.
Freak the fuck out!
This has been Comic Book Theater.
Thanks, guys, for everything you do. Love listening to the show, especially while we're in lockdown here. Look forward to chatting with you live soon sometime. Peace out, guys.
So I cut the onomatopoeia of the week because we're going to use it in the regular show. It's so good.
And it is brilliant.
You guys are going to love it.
Joe.
It's so good. I feel like he's setting a precedent here, and the bar is going to be set very high after that.
This is our first audio submission for onomatopoeia of the week.
I love it. Now,
And he nails it.
He's talking about God Hates Astronauts, a book that we both also very much loved. Completely wacky, just insane comic booking. There was a character, and I can't remember his name, but he was a cop, and he very much looked like the cop, the dad from Full House, and the dude from Die Hard.
Carl Winslow.
And he had bear arms. And like his name was like the Right to Bear Arms or something like that.
The actor's name is Reginald Vell Johnson.
Yes.
He played Carl Winslow on Family Matters.
Right. He's not anthropomorphic, though, right? He just has bear arms.
I mean, anthropomorphic would be like Dr. Professor, who was a rhinoceros.
And when we say bear, we mean BEAR. Like he has the arms of a bear.
Right. Yeah, no, he is a human. He is a human man with animal arms. That's not anthropomorphic.
I was just checking the rules. I wasn't real sure. I didn't know where to go with that. Like, what if you're just like a dude with a dog head? Like the guy from the cop from Caesar was his name.
No, he was a dog.
Oh, you're right. He was a dog that
He was a hyper intelligent dog
and
that
he
wore
got
a
in a
robot
costume.
suit.
That's right. Okay, what about if
it
you're
was
just
a
a
robot
dude with
man
a
suit.
dog head, like that old weird Rottweiler character? I can't even remember his name.
So anthropomorphizing means to imbue non-human things with human characteristics. So a talking dog, a talking tree,
Right.
you know.
I mean, I get that, but
a man bull.
what if you have a human body and a dog head?
I don't know.
Is
Are
a
you human?
minotaur? Like, what about a minotaur? Is that anthropomorphized? Anthropomorphed?
I think anthropomorphic animals are. I think that they mean more like
Care Bears.
Usagi Yojimbo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Care Bears. Exactly, Care Bears.
Gotcha. The get along.
Omaha the cat dancer.
No, you have brought up the porn stuff way more than I have this week, so I don't want to hear
I was
it.
shocked that you didn't make it a pick. I was shocked that you didn't pick it.
I thought about it. I really thought about it. Then I was like, you know what? I don't want to read that. All right.
I don't want it I don't want like any history of it on my computer.
All right. Our next call is from Brian Domingos.
Hey guys, it's Brian Domingos. Just calling in for to talk about those. Like, there's a lot of CW and DC TV news this week. I think that Ruby Rose leaving Batwoman can only be for the better because she is the weakest actor on the show. She looks good in the costume, and was entertaining to watch in those scenes, but her like straight up non-costume acting was pretty bad. And there are, like any CW show, some various levels of good and not great. And she was terrible. So I'm okay with her going. And I'm sure they can find anyone and it'll be good. And then Stargirl, was very surprised, kind of even to see it come out because it kind of sounded like it would never actually air. But I thought it was interesting. The timelines are kind of strange with the JSA being very recent, but I think they have some pretty high caliber actors for especially this kind of TV show. There's a lot of cosmic rod, which is fun. The sentient thing's a little weird, but it's okay overall. And I like that they made Courtney be kind of irked and bothered by all the things going wrong in her life, but not petulant. And I think that's a really fine line. And I think a not as smart written show would have had her be totally bitchy and like freaking out about everything. But she seems to roll with the punches pretty well. And I found that kind of refreshing. So I'll be watching, and I'm hoping that there's more good stuff. And I'm psyched that James Robinson and Jeff Johns are working together on something so near and dear to their hearts and my heart. Talk to you guys later.
So let's talk about Batwoman for a minute.
Okay.
When it was first announced that Ruby Rose was going to be playing Batwoman, the trolls came out and said, gross, gay people are gross and they're going to hell and we hate them, which is stupid. And we all agree with that.
When she was cast. When
she was cast.
Well, what did they expect? She's a gay character.
Yeah. I mean, well, obviously you get a white man to play a female gay character. I mean, because that's what they want, right?
Yeah, The Rock.
Yeah, perfect. Well,
you're like, hey, The Rock, we got this Batwoman character.
Yeah, perfect, right? He's white. He's straight. It's perfect.
I mean, it's the CW. Maybe we're aiming a little lower than The Rock. Maybe we're aiming for more like Paul Walker's brother.
Okay, I don't hate that.
Filled in for Paul Walker after he died.
I love it. See, now you're thinking. Okay, yeah. And then we got Ruby Rose, and it turns out she's not a very good actress.
All right. So she was primarily known as a model. She's from Australia, so having to speak with an American accent probably isn't doing her any favors.
Yeah.
But she's had roles in such illustrious films as Resident Evil: The Final Chapter.
Ooh, I saw that piece of shit. That sucked.
Triple X: The Return of Xander Cage.
Saw that piece of shit too.
Not even the good Triple
No,
X.
no. That was the one with Ice Cube playing.
Ice Cube.
Yes.
No, well, Return of Xander Cage. That was.
Oh
Vin
no, I'm
Diesel.
sorry. That was the newest one. Yeah, where they.
Yeah.
Oh God, man. Oof.
She was in John Wick 2, which I don't recall. She was in Pitch
She was
Perfect 3.
the female assassin that like messed with them for half the movie.
And she was also in The Meg.
Yeah, I mean, look, people can be in bad movies and be perfectly good actors. It happens all the time.
I mean, she's probably most recognizable as being on Orange is the New Black.
And I'm not even going to say that, like, yeah, I'm going to say it. She's bad. She was just stiff in the role. And I don't know if it was a
I didn't like her.
choice.
Yeah, no.
that
She mumbled. I didn't like her.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a choice that she made or a choice that directors, like, were working with her and wanted her to play it this way, but it didn't work. And if you're going to recast somebody, I think they're in a very dangerous place where you could get somebody who possibly is a fantastic actor and they decide, no, we want you to play it just like the old way so nobody notices, and it still sucks.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a good show, period. And I don't think it's all her fault. I think it's just not a good show.
I think it's a show that makes some bad choices, but it's got potential.
I'm going to leave
But
that
this is not about
pause-
the show. This is about Ruby Rose.
I'm going to leave that pause in there because I think it's very damning to your
No,
compliment.
like I've seen every episode. I have very strong opinions about some of the story decisions that they've made.
Yeah, I watched 4 and then I was like, I don't even know I'm watching this. And then I came back later because I heard somebody told me, oh, it got really good. And I watched 2 more episodes and went, nope, no, it didn't. this
No.
still sucks.
They did Hush, which was out of left field and completely unnecessary.
Well, but I mean, come on, it's a classic Batwoman story, you know, that Jim Lee did. It just, it doesn't make any sense. And they're just throwing shit against the wall because they can't do Batman. So they're like, oh, we'll just do Batman stories with Batwoman, which that's not what Batwoman is even about, you know? I mean,
I'm not mad about that. She's in Gotham City. She's going to fight Gotham villains. I don't really care so much about them doing Batman villains.
I don't have a problem with Batman villains, but iconic Batman stories with her swapped out don't make a lot of sense.
Well, they didn't adapt Hush. They brought in the character of Hush.
Which
they did not do an adaptation of Hush.
Which is still dumb.
It was dumb. And yeah, it's just the way that the characters behave makes no sense from episode to episode. Like, her sister is a psychopath, an insane murderer. Everybody knows it. She knows it. Everybody knows it. And she just lets Alice run around freely until it absolutely becomes too much.
Pretty much.
And I'm like, this season would have been over if you had just sent her to Arkham on day 1.
Yeah. No problems. We're done here. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, again, this is not a critique of the show. We are talking about Ruby Rose getting replaced.
Right.
I think that it will improve the show if they replace her with a better actress.
And we'll see.
I just don't think she was good in the part.
We shall see.
So as to Brian's thoughts about Stargirl, Matt and I talked about this on the main show. It is odd that the JSA is so recent.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're going to get more about the JSA, so I'm not really worried about it right now.
Yeah, and I'm hoping they do, like what you were saying, they do something where like, oh, they got kicked forward in time or something, and then they die.
That was your idea, and I said that was too complicated to do in a 10-episode
No, my
CW
idea
show.
was the team died in World War II, and only fucking Wilson got kicked forward in time. That was my idea, because that's way easier. They're like, oh no, there's an explosion, the time engine, it's gonna explode, and he's the only,
Sure.
fart into the future, whatever.
Sure.
It writes itself,
I mean, they might reveal that they, like, in the comics, part of the reason that the JSA were so long-lived is that they spent a lot of time in an alternate dimension fighting Ragnarok, which is a wild story.
Right.
But because of the magic of that universe, they aged much more slowly when they came back, which is why they were still so vital when they came back to the main universe. They could do something like that. They might say something like that.
Yeah, I suppose.
But the one thing that gave me the most pause, and Brian mentioned it in his call, is the idea that the staff is alive. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's like got a personality and everything.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So
sort of like Herbie
we'll
goes
see
bananas.
Yeah, right. We'll see where they go with it. I mean, that's something that's obviously not in the normal Starman, Stargirl mythos. So I was taken aback by it, to say the least.
I think if they play it cool, it'll be fine. But I don't understand why Jeff Johns wanted to make that change. He's in charge of this, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
it's like they wanted to add one more element of like kid stuff,
Right. And it's like you've already got the story of like, well, she's a kid, but she's in charge. So she's kind of the sidekick to the older guy, but technically he's the sidekick. You know what? We should give her a wacky sidekick too. You know, why?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we'll see what they do.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do with it, but it was unexpected.
Yeah, to say the least. All right, JD, got a catch. You're up next, buddy.
Greetings, nerds. It's JD Catch.
That was dramatic pause.
Calling in for the answer of the week. So we're talking about fictional viruses and, I don't know, being a Marvel kid, growing up with the X-Men. I got to go with the Legacy virus. I mean,
I knew it.
It's the one that, you know, took a franchise that was already a metaphor and just really drove that metaphor home. And I don't know, that's the one that comes to mind for me. Speaking of the X-Men, I'm going to talk to y'all for a second in real time. I'm going to step out of the lake house. So quarantine has been kind of rough. And, you know, we're all reaching for, you know, our pop culture comfort food, if you will. And I've been strangely rewatching a lot of Leverage, the show on I'm watching
USA,
on the IMDb
right? Leverage?
TV app, which I didn't even know was a thing, but has got some pretty cool stuff.
I thought it was on like
that
THN
show
or
was
something.
just
I don't know.
so good, and it so holds up. And where the X-Men thing comes around is we've talked casting a lot in the past, and I'm sure one of us has mentioned it in the past, and I can't remember, but why haven't we gotten a Christian Kane as Wolverine yet? I mean, his character on Leverage, Elliot Spencer, is basically Wolverine. I mean, he's pretty much already played the character. I think that's probably the only downside, but I don't know. I miss talking to you guys. I miss talking casting and MCU rumors and everything, and I don't know. It's just, I hope you guys are doing good. I'm glad you guys are keeping the answer of the week alive and keeping things going, and the podcast is keeping me going, but I hope things change soon. Hope I find work soon, but that's beside the point. But should have a new Lake House article next week, so look forward to that, and talk to you guys later. Bye.
Okay, I'm not going to sit here and listen to him complain, because as a love slave, he has no want for money or lodging. He lives in a cage, and we feed him. So I'm not going to listen to this, JD. Sorry.
Now, like, Matt, to be fair, when was the last time you actually fed the love slaves?
Okay, see, your job is to feed the love slaves. We've discussed this so many times.
Partners.
Does that mean they
We're
haven't
partners.
been fed in months? Is that what you're telling me? Is that
so
what,
every time it was your turn, you just didn't feed them?
So since our last argument about this, you have not fed them, is what you're telling me.
Because you were supposed to do it.
Jesus Christ.
No wonder now we know where that stink's coming from.
Yeah, no, that's why the stink is a little more than usual, I guess.
JD, buddy, good luck with the job search. Yes, I totally agree with you on Christian Kane as Wolverine.
He's
He'd be
great.
great.
And he was great on Leverage. Leverage was the Timothy Hutton show. It was fantastic.
It was on TNT. And he was also awesome as the kind of sleazy Wolfram Hart lawyer on Angel.
Oh yeah.
I think he's awesome, and he does not get enough work. Now, he was on Leverage for many years, so nothing to sneeze at there.
7 damn seasons.
Yeah, and that's a great show.
Yeah.
That's just a fun, like, heist show. It's great comfort food. And I'm just going to go ahead and say it now. My answer to the question of the week is also the legacy virus.
Okay.
I love it so much.
So when I said there was one answer to this, the answer was the legacy virus, but then I was
But
like,
you came up with a different one.
yeah, but I was like, wait a minute. I have a better one.
Yeah.
and I love it. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. I'm not going to sit here and brag.
Now, I know that the conclusion of the legacy virus story is very stupid.
Well, we're going to talk about that next week, as a matter of
And
fact.
yes, if I'm not mistaken, that is in your list for this week.
Oh, yeah. One of my picks. And I read it this morning. Not only was it as stupid as I remember, it was boring, too.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
But, like, I loved the idea. Like, it came out at the very end of the Executioner's song.
You're saying
crossover.
It wrong. You're trying.
Executioner.
There you go.
Sorry,
You got to pronounce it
Executioner.
correctly, please.
Which is my favorite X Family crossover of all time. And the whole idea was that, like, Strife, the evil clone of Cable from the future, was going to provide Mr. Sinister with these, like, crazy Summers family genetic secrets.
Yeah.
In exchange for whatever help he provided. And in the very last issue, the very few last pages of the final chapter, his assistant opens the container and it's empty. And Strife leaves a note, something, this will be our legacy, whatever, hint, hint, hint.
Something,
then the
genetic
assistant-
super AIDS.
Yeah. And then the assistant coughs lightly, like, and so, like, you don't know what you're in for until way later when mutants start dropping dead.
Love it.
It's so great.
Now,
yeah,
do you think
the finale is real dumb?
Do you think when they did that Strife thing, they knew at that point, or they're like, we're still kicking it around, we'll figure it out, and then one of them was like, it's a disease. We make it a disease.
No, I think they knew. I reread the crossover, and it's, like, so obvious.
Okay.
From those last few pages that they knew exactly what they were doing.
I haven't read it for years, but I did just read
because
the end of it. Whew, we'll talk about that Wednesday.
It's not that many issues of Uncanny X-Men later that Ilyana Rasputin dies of it.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
So it's like less than 10 issues. So they definitely planned it.
Yeah, it was a whole thing, though. Whew.
It was.
Oh, man. All right.
She got much better.
Well, they all did. I don't think anybody that died of the legacy virus is still dead.
Well, definitely not now that they're raising them from the dead.
Well,
left
yeah,
and right.
okay, but before even that, I mean, well before that, I think everybody came back.
Well, no, like Pyro died from it. I mean, Moira died from it. There were some casualties.
Yeah, Moira's still dead, isn't she?
No, she's the linchpin of the Dawn of X.
That's right. I forgot. She's like, yeah, they fixed that because they had her traveling time and whatnot. But before that, was she still dead?
Yeah, she'd been dead for a long time.
Okay, so it wasn't until this most recent story where it turns out Moira has had several different lives doing several different things. And the one that we had her in, she died of the legacy virus.
As far as I understand it.
And the way they explain, oh man, Beast tries to explain how him and Moira were working on it. And it made the jump to humanity and only killed Moira McTaggart. What?
Well, turns out Moira's a mutant, though.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
So it didn't jump to humanity, which messes up the whole way they cured it, by the way. So we'll see.
Does it?
Yeah. The whole story was Mystique tried to re-engineer the legacy virus so it would mess with humans. And in doing so, they realized how the legacy virus works. But Moira got infected. And in Moira's infection, they were able to find the cure for the mutants. And they shut down like the human thing because Moira's the only one exposed to it. So she died.
Oh, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, she had it, but I don't think that's what killed her. I think she was killed by the Brotherhood.
I think she choked on a chicken bone in a chicken sandwich.
She
Yeah.
was sucking on it. She was sucking on chili dog outside the Tasty Freeze.
Yeah, and she inhaled it.
choked and died.
And she choked and died. All right, enough
Let's
of
move on.
this bullshit.
Greetings, nerds. Jimmy Randall here, sending in my MP3 for question of the week. Favorite diseases, viruses from comic books. Well, I got a really boring one, so I apologize in advance, but Hold on to your hat flaps, everybody. Get ready for the most generic and boring answer ever, and the most generic and boring honorable mention ever, which goes to, of course, The Walking Dead. It was the first time I'd ever we'd all ever sort of had the concept of it doesn't matter if a zombie bites you, everyone's infected. If you die, you come back. And I remember that blew my mind a little bit. But my actual answer, whoever wins, is it's Crossed by Garth Ennis. I love that guy. Everything he writes is gold.
You fucking
But Crossed,
pervert.
it struck a chord with me. Like, usually I hate, torture porn, Hostel, Human Centipede, those sorts of films, whatever. They can go suck a lemon. They just fuck off. But I really, really love
They said they can suck a
I've read
lemon
them all multiple
and then
times.
fuck off.
If you don't know the premise, it's you get infected and you don't give a shit. You give into your base desires, be it murder, rape, whatever the fuck. And it's full-on brutal, horrible storytelling. But the cool part is, like, there's heaps of singular and closed stories within the entire run. It jumps from the initial outbreak. 5 years later, it goes to Japan, to the UK, back again. There's no real, like, big cohesive story. It's all over the place. So it's a cool little playground for various writers and artists to just go ham on storytelling. They can let it all out, be as nasty as they want to be. I even found myself sympathizing with one of the Cross. Small spoilers, but writer Christos Gage, he created this character called Smokey. He's a big dude. He's crossed. He's infected. He's really brutal, but he's a bit smarter than the rest. He still wants to raise a family and start a society of crossed and have little crossed babies and crossed wife and stuff. I really enjoyed his story, like his entire arc. But yeah, I found myself actually feeling sorry for the dude, and that made me question my own sanity. Like, why am I sympathizing with this horrible bastard? But you know what? That's what good writing does, my friends. It makes you question yourself. And there was even an origin story of sorts, like a dude in the UK went crazy, killed his family, and it spread. But it wasn't explained. Like, is it supernatural or biological or what? What the hell? Books like Why the Last Man, even Sweet Tooth, they keep you guessing till the very end, but then it's still explained. But Cross doesn't do it, and kind of just like The Walking Dead before it, there's no real actual explanation as to the how and why it all went down. And I really dig that. But look, that's 2.5 minutes. I don't want to be a prick. Jimmy, out.
Well done, James. I will say I am torn on this because there's this part of me that, like, when I watch horror movies, I don't want to know everything, obviously. Like, and one of the biggest problems that I have with the horror remakes of up until recent is they try and explain everything. Like, oh, you know why Jason is a killer? Because he was mentally handicapped and his mom was weird. Like, I don't need that. That's, oh, wow, that's scary. Great, But for some reason, when it comes to something like The Walking Dead or Crossed or, 28 Days Later or whatever, I want to know. Okay, what is it? Is it a disease? Is it magic? And I think it's just because I need to know what kind of zombie we're dealing with.
Here's the difference in my mind. With something like Crossed or 28, I don't know if I've seen 28 Days Later. I know I've seen 28 Weeks Later.
Oh, 28 Days Later was an excellent film. 28 Weeks Later was good too.
Yeah. I think with those more anthology style stories where it's like, this is what's happening to the Crossed in this part of the world. This is what's happening. This is how these characters are dealing with this.
Right.
Then I'd be like, okay, yeah, somebody's going to figure it out. With The Walking Dead, it only ever focused on a small group of people in Georgia. There's no way they would ever find out what happened.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, they went to this, they do end up with the CDC, but the CDC is just like, we're screwed. We don't know.
But that just happens in the show, right? That didn't happen in the comic.
No, something similar to that happened later on in the comic. They moved it way back in the show timeline, basically. But as far as I know, they never figured out what it was that was making the zombies in Walking Dead.
To me, it makes total sense that this handful of people, even once they grew the cast as they met more survivors, there's no earthly reason why any of those normal people would learn why there was a zombie apocalypse.
Right. I mean, and even if one of them was a virologist or whatever, okay, great. Is there any working equipment? Are you going to have a lab where you can sit down and figure this out? No, probably not. Power isn't even on in most places. So
I even liked how they introduced the character Eugene, who's like, I know exactly what's happening. I'm an expert. you need to get me to this place because I know what's going on and I have information.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be total bullshit.
Yeah.
He was lying the whole time.
Yeah, he just thought he could go in there and they would shut the door and he'd be like, screw you guys. Woo.
Well, like, no, he was like, if they think that I'm important, they'll protect me.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because he's just like some fat slob. Good answer, Jimmy. I don't really like Crossed, but, you know.
It's a clever, it is a clever take on the viral sort of like zombification gone wild without them dying, you know? I think that's interesting.
Definitely a different take on the whole thing.
Yeah.
Too much genital mutilation for my liking.
Well, see, you're just being a weenie at this point. Pun intended.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me too. It's not really my cup of meat, as you like to say. And that probably works pretty well for Crossed.
Yeah, fitting.
But I will say, clever. Very clever disease. All right, let's see what Ryan Mount has got for us. I'm sure it's going to be just as sick and twisted.
This is Ryan Mount, a.k.a. Hebrews on the Twitter, calling in for the answer of the week. The real easy answer here is the disease that wiped out all the men in Y: The Last Man. Other than that, I do just want to give a quick shout out to the Deceased. That series is a lot of fun, and it really doesn't have any right to be as good as it is, but it is pretty awesome. But the real answer and the only answer is the disease from Y: The Last Man. Talk to you nerds next week.
Okay, he's not the first person to tell me that Deceased is actually pretty fun. And
yeah, it's Tom Taylor, dude. That guy is a great writer.
But we both read it and we didn't like it.
No, I liked it. I reviewed it. I liked it.
Did you?
Yeah, it's way better than you think.
I thought we both were like, ugh, whatever. I don't need this happening.
And they explain where the virus comes from.
Where'd it come from?
Like,
spoil it.
It comes from something to do with the anti-life equation.
Of course.
Having a bad reaction with cyborgs. Like they were trying to defeat something to do with Darkseid and the anti-life equation, and Cyborg couldn't handle it, and he like had a meltdown and released this terrible anti-life virus into the world.
Whoops.
Yeah. And it's like it's enjoyable.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll give it a read. I've got time. I'll give it a read. The Y: The Last Man, the disease in that, another one, super clever, only affects dudes. And it's for a very basic reason. Well, women have this chromosome that men don't have. So there you go. Dead. It was really cool, really simple, great story. We've harped on that long enough, but a great disease. I can't remember what they named it though.
Wait, is it men that have the Y chromosome? That's why it's called Y: The Last Man.
No, it's because he had a Y chromosome, I think, and that's why.
That's what I'm saying. So men have the chromosome, not women.
No, women have the Y chromosome. Men are like XX.
No, Y chromosome is a sex chromosome which is normally present only in male cells, which are designated XY.
Is that what it is?
Women are double X.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So everybody with a Y chromosome dropped dead.
Right.
I don't know if they actually named it.
I can't remember.
They do some revelations at the very, very end. Wasn't it something to do with like it happened because they were trying to clone dudes?
I believe they were in fact trying to clone dudes, and that's where I went. They tried to play God, and that's where it always starts, Joe Patrick.
According to Wikipedia, the source of the plague that wiped out every living mammal with a Y chromosome except Yorick and Ampersand and Dr. Matsumori, who I forgot about, is never fully explained, though they do give possible explanations throughout the series, but a definitive answer is left for the reader to decide.
Son of a bitch. Just like Cross. Yeah. Just like The Walking Dead.
So, like, it could have been a failed attack on China. It could have been...
Is cloning dudes not in there?
Cloning science made males unnecessary, and thus Mother Nature destroyed them.
Whoa. I mean, but that happened a while ago, and we haven't been destroyed yet. So, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Maybe it's coming. Maybe it's happening right now. I don't know.
Other explanations put forth in the book include, and obviously some of these were from crazy people, the earth cleansing itself as believed by the Amazons, the rapture, taking all men and leaving all women.
Because we all know women are always wrong and guilty, okay?
As punishment for original sin.
It's in the Bible.
Yeah.
I didn't write it. Don't at me, okay?
This was believed by an air traffic controller who was obviously unhinged. The remaining female members of the Sons of Arizona were convinced that the government was responsible for the plague. and that the top government leaders were all in hiding, waiting to take over the country.
What? How do you know this came from what? Where did you said this came from an air traffic controller?
These are other explanations. These are other possible explanations that are
in the
suggested in the course of the comic.
Gotcha. Okay. I was like, I thought you meant someone posted, they're like, I'm an air traffic controller, and here's what I think happened.
No. This was no.
Speaking as an air traffic controller.
This was a character in the book who was an air traffic
Does that guy
controller.
always have to bring that shit up? Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Ryan, for your call as always.
What do you want for lunch? Well, as an air traffic controller, I get pretty hungry for a tuna salad now and again.
Well, since the rapture took all the men away, I've been really hankering for a...
Final call? Is that our last call?
Nope, we got two more.
Two more.
Google
Sorry.
Voice calls.
Who we got here?
Google Voice.
I can't tell because the Google transcript is always so terrible.
It doesn't
They
look
haven't
like
gotten
this
better
first caller
either.
identifies themselves.
Oh, there's that. That could be it too. Tell us your names, you guys. If you don't tell us your names, we cannot promise that you'll be able to have sex with strangers that heard you on the internet. Okay? So tell us your
Jason
names.
Sachs. I think it's Jason, and he just thought it would be obvious that we knew who it was him.
Guys, so fictional viruses.
It's definitely
I'm gonna
Jason.
go with The Teen Plague from Charles Burns' Black Hole graphic novel. If you haven't read it, it's basically just like something like a sexually transmitted disease, which causes people to kind of mutate in kind of spooky, sometimes odd ways. And it's just beautifully portrayed by Burns in that fantastic graphic novel, which really kind of illuminates a lot of the pain and stress we go through as we grow up. And just thought that was a fantastic way of kind of providing a metaphor for what it means to be a person who's struggling with their body image as they grow into puberty. So that's the Teen Plague. To answer your other question, I thought Stargirl was really fun. Just a great little kickoff to a hopefully very entertaining little show. Certainly not the greatest thing, and I'm kind of worried about Courtney getting in trouble for attacking that guy's beautiful Mustang. But it's just like a fun show that I think will be just a really nice kind of coronavirus watch, which will provide low stress and high enjoyment. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you're not going too crazy. I don't think I am. I hope I'm not. See you later. Bye.
Jesus, Jason. That was weird, man.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
I dug it. Yeah, Charles Burns' Black Hole is fantastic.
I've never read it. That's one of my indie blind spots.
It's so weird. Charles Burns is just the weirdest guy in the world. And he has these very surrealistic stories. And the disease in Black Hole, it starts off, it's like, wait a minute, I think they're just talking about puberty. But then it's like, no, puberty is like a disease and it's crazy. Oh, it's great. It's really good. His
art is phenomenal.
He's an incredible artist. Yes. And everyone should check out his El Borba. Really good stuff. Mexican wrestler story. Super weird as well. Great stuff, though. He likes Stargirl, which we did too. It was fun. And he's right. I think it's going to be popcorn CW TV.
Pretty easy, low stakes fun.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Final call here. Here we go.
Good morning, Jill and Matt. Good morning, nerds. Just calling in with my answer to the question of the week. David Robbins here. Fictional diseases. This is a good question. I mean, there's a lot of obvious answers. You've got legacy virus. You've got the Motaba virus from Outbreak. You've got a bunch of different things. This is going to be a weird one and a little out of the box. My knee-jerk answer is to say legacy virus. But there was a young adult series of novels right around the year 2000 that came out that was called Countdown. That was, it was 12 books. They released one a month. I was working at a bookstore at the time, so this kind of grabbed my attention. And there was a virus in there. I don't remember what it was called, but it killed the world's population if you were younger than 13 and over 19. So unless you were a teenager, you died. When you turn 20, if you turn 20 in this year or whatever, it killed you. I can't remember the name of it, but I do remember the books and that they were pretty fun. And, it was worse than anything we got going on right now because the people would melt. There's that. if you want an actual name thing, I'm going with Legacy Virus. Yeah, that's it. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
I have not read Countdown, but I've been listening to books on, like, audiobooks on YouTube. There's a bunch of them up there, and they keep suggesting Countdown for me. I don't know why.
Oh, wow.
So I didn't know what it was. Now I do, and I realize it's a YA book. Probably not going to read it or listen to it, but, you know, I mean, whatever.
Why? What, are you too good for it?
I'm not exactly ya anymore. I'm more of like an oa.
Look, man, YA books can be really great.
Yeah, my wife loves them. You like them, but, you know, I'm a little more mature than you guys, and I just want adult
It doesn't have anything to
fiction,
do with maturity, buddy. I'm trying to find them, but you'd be surprised how unhelpful it is to Google the word Countdown.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it applies to
even
a
if
lot
you put book in it.
I can think of like
novels.
one major DC event that would pop up. So
Yeah, right. Yeah, this premise sounds really familiar. The disease that kills everybody but teenagers. I do remember hearing about this.
God, not a world I would want to live in. Oh, my God. No, thanks.
According to Wikipedia, it's not a virus. It's a massive solar flare causes power failures all over the globe and adults and children everywhere to melt into piles of black goo.
Ooh, like Night of the Comet, except in Night of the Comet, I think they all just kind of turn into zombies.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, these were all good answers. Everybody had cool answers. Let's talk about our answers. Joe Patrick.
I already gave mine.
Oh, the Legacy Virus. That's right.
I already gave mine because it was the same as Ryan's.
I love the Legacy Virus. I love how stupid and simple it was and how long it stuck around in the X books. But my favorite also comes from an X title. It is the Techno-Organic Virus. I loved that shit. Warlock, who was a new mutant, was a techno-organic, sentient being, basically. He was like a bunch of, robotic cells, and he could shape change, and he was like black and had yellow circuitry all over him and dreadlocks for some reason. And we found out that if you are in contact with Warlock for too long, he can infect you with his techno-organic cells, right? And you become like it crawls over your body and you become black and yellow and you get like absorbed into the Borg basically at that point. Cable famously has a techno-organic virus in his left arm, and that's why his arm is metal, and he uses his psionic powers to hold it back, so it's only infecting that part of him. Now, with that said, it doesn't seem to have a lot of the powers that, like, other techno-organic shit does. Like, it can't shape change and whatnot. But I loved it. The whole story was Warlock's dad, the Magus, basically ran a planet that was inhabited, like a fully infected planet that was a giant,
the Technarchy,
right?
Or whatever.
And it was like a giant collective of very Borg, if you will. And the virus was how they took over. Basically, they went to new planets, they hung out there, and they spread their cells, and it absorbed the planet and became part of the Technarchy. And Warlock, of course, was fighting his dad and thought he could control it himself. And his buddy Doug Ramsey would climb inside of him and drive him around like a giant robot. Guess what? Doug got sick. And they merged. It was a whole thing, And now Doug,
I thought that Doug was the only one that could.
No, Doug thought that too, but it turned out that was not the case. And then Doug died, and Doug came back as Doug Locke and stuff. Like, it was a whole thing. It was.
Oh yeah, I do remember Doug Locke.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. I love the techno-organic virus so much.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the crossover that introduces us to the Legacy Virus, the previously mentioned Executioner's song, opens with Strife in disguise as Cable infecting Charles Xavier with the techno-organic virus.
Well, Strife is
and
Cable,
framing
though,
Cable
right?
for his attempted murder.
Strife is Cable from the future, though, right? Isn't he?
Strife is a clone of Cable.
Oh, that's right. He's an evil clone.
Like, Cable comes from the future, and in the future is where Strife was created.
Are all clones in Marvel evil? Like, all of them? Can you think of a good clone? I mean, I guess Joseph turned out okay.
X-Man is a clone.
But he wasn't a clone. He was from a different reality.
Well, he was grown in a lab, though.
But he was from a different reality, too. He wasn't like a clone of Cable. He was another Nathan Summers.
But he was grown in a tube is what I'm saying. So, like, he's
guess.
basically a clone.
I suppose.
Ben Reilly.
Joseph was Magneto's clone, and he was bad for a little bit there. And then he may or may not have been Zorn. Like, it was a whole thing.
I let's not even get into it.
I can't get into it. And we should save the clone. Let's save our favorite clones for another question of the week.
Yeah.
In fact, if we don't have a good question of the week, I want to know what your favorite clone is, because that's a great one to talk about.
Maybe we can do like a THN top 5 favorite clones.
That'd be fun.
What was I saying?
I don't know.
You're talking specifically about Marvel clones.
Yeah.
But like DC's lousy with clones. Guardian is a clone.
Clones all over the place. And they're all good. All the clones in DC. They're
Superboy's a clone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Marvel definitely has its fair share of evil clones.
All right. That was a good time. Let's set up our new question of the week. Get these kids something to talk about.
Just real quick, since we only have one, we have a written answer on Facebook from CJ Dan. His favorite fictional disease is Captain Trips from Stephen King's The Stand.
It was
That's
really
a good answer.
It was really gross. Ugh.
Solid answer though.
Yeah, it was like respiratory and like diphtheria. It was bad. You like coughed and pooped
like
yourself
weird butt
to death.
stuff.
Yeah, it was like
yuck. All right. Our new question of the week was submitted by Brian Domingos via the THN forums. It's the QOTW self-quarantine edition. You have access to any comic published in any language. What is in your lockdown reading pile? Would you choose an old favorite? Something you always wanted to get caught up on? You know, the sky's the limit. This is like, if you could read anything you wanted, what comic would you choose?
Oh, see, I took it as like your comfort comics, like stuff that you would return to or something. But
well, I mean, I think it's in the phrasing here.
Yeah.
You have access to any comic. Imagine you have access to any comic ever published in any language.
All right, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. I think we should do this clone thing too. That sounds like fun. I want to talk more clones.
Well, you're doing the MCU thing this week, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, all right. But yeah, we'll definitely do the clone thing.
Wicked awesome. All right. You know how to do it. 402-819-4894. Call us, leave your message. Shoot an MP3 to twoheadednerd@gmail.com. And then be sure to go to the website where we host the show. It's also up on YouTube's if you want to watch it there.
I actually got a question this week from, I believe it was David Robbins on Facebook, who said, where do I find the answer of the week? David.
Come on, Dave.
We talk about it in every episode.
Constantly. It's right there on the site. Come on, man.
It's posted on the Facebook page.
We tweet it out too.
Week.
I mean, come on.
But yes, no, it's on our YouTube channel. It's on twoheadednerd.com. And that's where you can find us.
And that brings us to the end of another Bash David Robbins cast, but we'll be back to bash him more next week right here. And David, you can find that on YouTube and our twoheadednerd.com website. So there you go.
He knows we only do it because we love him.
That's right. For now, we got to get out of here. We have all kinds of important social stuff to do. You know, Memorial Day. We've got picnics. We've got that thing at the lake. We've got,
Yeah, I got to go cough on everybody not wearing a mask at the grocery store.
The Junior Miss Memorial Day pageant that we have to host. I mean, like, it's going to be crazy. So we should get out of here.
Isn't there a dog show?
I believe so. Yeah, that is the Junior Miss Memorial Day. Yeah, it's a dog show for female dogs only.
They call it the dog show, but it's derogatory.
And every year we start with the same joke. Look at all these hot bitches, and ha ha ha, and it's just, it never gets old. It's great.
Like they're underage, man. It's just not cool.
Yeah, well, they're dogs. Who cares? I mean, come on.
Oh wait, I thought we were just calling it the dog show as like.
No, it's actual
insult.
dogs. No, I'm not being that rude to little girls. Oh my god, you sicko!
I never know with you. I never know with you.
Good Lord, man. We always seem to know with you though, don't we? Where you go? Wow. All right, that's enough of this. I'm done offending you people. This is the Two-Headed Nerd signing off.
Goodbye.